Objective Geology, multiple choice questions with answers. This is the solved question paper of Delhi University 2019 question paper. And I hope this solved question paper is useful for various competitive exams like CSR, NetGate, GSI and other exams. Welcome to set 1. Coming to the first question. If the RQD value is 65, RQD means rock quality designation. If RQD value is 65, then the rock quality is said to be A. Fair, B. Good, C. Excellent, D. None of these. The correct answer is A. Fair. Rock quality designation RQD is a method used to assess the quality of the rock core samples which are obtained from boreholes, and it is expressed as a percentage calculated by dividing the total length of the core pieces longer than 100 millimeters or approximately 4 inches by the total core length. So if the RQD value is 65, then the rock quality is said to be fair. Next question. If the hinge line of a fold has a pitch of 85 degrees on the easterly dipping axial surface, the fold is called A. Recumbent fold, B. Reclined fold, C. Plunging upright fold, and D. Non-plunging inclined fold. The correct option is B. Reclined fold. If the hinge line of a fold has a pitch of 85 degrees on an easterly dipping axial surface, the fold is called as a reclined fold. Why? Because the plunge of the hinge line, that is 85 degrees in this case, it is equal to the dip angle of the axial surface, and it is also easterly dipping. So if the hinge line of a fold has a pitch of 85 degrees on the easterly dipping axial surface, the fold is said to be a reclined fold. Next question. Which of the following elements is present in 4 and 6 coordination with oxygen? A. Potassium, B. Sodium, C. Calcium, and D. Aluminium. So the correct answer is aluminium. Aluminium can be found in both 4 and 6 coordination with oxygen. In many compounds, aluminium exhibits a coordination number of 6, meaning it is surrounded by 6 oxygen atoms in an octahedral arrangement. And however, aluminium can also be found in a tetrahedral or 4 coordination environment with oxygen in certain compounds, such as in some aluminate ions or in some mineral structures. So the correct answer is aluminium. It is present in 4 and 6 coordination with oxygen. Next question. Which of the following is a part of EMR correspond to X-rays? A. 0.03 nanometers to 0.3 nanometers. B. Less than 0.03 nanometers. C. 0.4 micrometers to 0.7 micrometer. And D. 0.7 micrometer to 3 micrometer. So the correct option is 0.03 nanometers to 0.3 nanometers. The proposed wavelength range for X-rays it is 0.03 nanometers to 0.3 nanometers. So A is the correct option. Next question. The mountain slope in arid region showing erosion and very thin veneer of sediments is known as A. Bolson, B. Pediment, C. Playa, D. Pediment. The correct option goes as B. Pediment. A mountain slope in an arid region showing erosion and a thin layer of sediments is typically called a pediment. Pediments are generally sloping bedrock surfaces found at the base of a receding mountain in arid and semi-arid areas. And these are formed by the erosive action of running water, often as a sheet floods during the intense rainfall events. Next question. A greasen deposit exposes which part of a granitic body? A. Uppermost, B. Middle, C. Lower, and D. Basal. A greasen deposit exposes the uppermost part of a granitic body. Greasen typically occurs in belts or veins that intersect the granite, and it passes into granite at the outer edge of this. And the transition between the two rocks is gradual, indicating that greasen has been produced through alteration of the granite by vapors or fluids which are rising through fissures or openings. So a greasen deposit exposes the uppermost part of a granitic body. A is the correct option. Next question. The mineralogical abundance of the Earth's crust shows that which mineral is the most abundant mineral? A. Olivine, B. Feldspar, C. Quartz, and D. Pyroxene. So the correct option is feldspar. Feldspar is indeed the most abundant mineral in the Earth's crust. It's a group of rock forming minerals that make up a significant portion of both the continental and oceanic crusts. Next question. Serpentine is A tectosilicate, B inosilicate, C nesosilicate, D phyllosilicate. Very straightforward question. Serpentine is a phyllosilicate. It is a phyllosilicate mineral. It is characterized by its layered structure composed of interconnected sheets of silica tetrahedra and octahedral layers. So this layered structure is a defining characteristic of phyllosilicates. Next question. A sedimentologist interprets a matrix supported conglomerate with sharp and non-erosional base and with an imbrication of a clast as a product of A. Unconformity, B. Grain flow, C. Channel lag, and D. Debris flow. The correct option is debris flow. A sedimentologist would likely interpret a matrix supported conglomerate with a sharp non-erosional base and imbricated class as a product of debris flow. Next question. Bhakra Dam is made up of A. Earthfill, B. Concrete, C. Rockfill, and D. A combination of all. Bhakra Dam is a concrete gravity dam built on the Sutlej River, and it is located near the border between the Punjab and Himachal Pradesh in the northern India. And the dam forms the Gobind Sagar Reservoir, and this is made up of concrete. So B is the correct option. Next question. A glide plane involves A. Inversion and rotation, B. Translation and inversion, C. Reflection and translation, and D. Rotation and reflection. A glide plane, it involves reflection and translation. Specifically, a glide reflection is a transformation that combines a reflection across a plane with a translation along the same plane. It's a single transformation where an object is first reflected and then it is shifted in a direction which is parallel to the reflection line or a plane. So a glide plane involves both reflection and translation. C is the correct option. Next question. Texturally supermature sandstone is defined by A. Lots of clay, well sorting, sub-rounded grains. B. Lots of clay, poor sorting and subangular grains. C. Little or no clay, poor sorting, angular grains. And D. No clay, well sorting and well-rounded grains. So the correct option is D. No clay, well sorting and well-rounded grains. Texturally supermature sandstone, it is characterized by absence of matrix, which includes clay and silt, and the presence of well-sorted and well-rounded sand grains. And these sandstones represent a significant stage of sedimentological maturity, indicating prolonged transport and abrasion. Next question. In a similar fold, the dip isogons drawn onto the two limbs of the folded layer in a profile section A. Diverge strongly towards the core, B. Remain parallel to the axial trace, C. Converge strongly towards the core, and D. Converge weakly towards the core. The correct option is remain parallel to the axial trace. In a similar fold, the dip isogons drawn to the limbs of the folded layer in a profile section are parallel to each other, not converging towards the core of the fold. So they remain parallel to the axial trace. Next question. Early stages of diagenesis in carbonate rocks show A. Blocky cement, B. Rim cement, C. Druzy cement, and D. Pressure solution. Early stages of diagenesis in carbonate rocks, they show rim cement. These cements are often found as early marine cements, which are typically fibrous, or they can be also syntactial overgrowths that form around the existing grains. And these represent an initial stage of mineral precipitation from the pore fluids within the sediment. So early stages of diagenesis in carbonate rock show rim cement. B is the correct option. Next question. The metamorphic facies not present in the low pressure series metamorphism is A. Amphibolite facies, B. Epidote amphibolite facies, C. Pyroxene Hornfels facies, and D. Sanidinite facies. So the correct option goes as B. Epidote amphibolite facies. The epidote amphibolite facies is typically not associated with the low pressure metamorphism. Instead, it is considered as a part of an intermediate pressure series. So the correct option is epidote amphibolite facies. This is not present in the low pressure series of metamorphism. Next question. Hydraulic conductivity is a function of A. Medium alone, B. Both fluid and medium, C. Fluid alone, D. None of the above. Hydraulic conductivity is a function of both fluid and the medium. Hydraulic conductivity is indeed a function of both the properties of the fluid and the characteristics of the porous medium. It represents how easily a fluid flows through a porous material like soil or rock, and this property is influenced by both the fluid's ability to move and the medium's ability to transmit the fluid. So it is related to pore size, shape, and interconnected materials. So hydraulic conductivity is a function of both fluid and the medium. B is the correct option. Next question. The most fundamental unit of lithostratigraphy is A. Group, B. Supergroup, C. Member, D. Formation. The most fundamental unit of lithostratigraphy is formation. A formation is a body of rock that is defined by its lithological characteristics and its position within the stratigraphic column. It's the basic unit used for mapping, describing, and interpreting the geology of a region. So the most fundamental unit of lithostratigraphy is formation. Next question. Which part of the earth is marked by extensive weathering and formation of thick iron and aluminum hydroxides and oxides? A. Steppe, B. Tropical, C. Desert, and D. Savanna. Correct option is B. Tropical. The tropical regions of the earth are characterized by extensive weathering, which leads to the formation of thick layers of iron and aluminum hydroxides and oxides. This process is primarily driven by the intense chemical weathering in these areas, which results from high temperature and abundant rainfall. So the resulting soil rich in these compounds is known as laterite. So the correct option is tropical part of the earth. It is marked by extensive weathering and formation of thick iron and aluminum hydroxides and oxides. Next question. In the earth atmosphere, the atmospheric pressure A. increases with height, B. remains constant with height, C. first increases and then decreases with height, D. decreases with height. So the correct option goes as a D. decreases with height. Atmospheric pressure decreases with increasing altitude in Earth's atmosphere. This is because air is denser closer to the Earth's surface due to gravity, and the weight of the air above exerts pressure on the air below. And as we go higher, there is less air above and resulting in the lower air density and therefore lower atmospheric pressure. Next question. The principal section of a uniaxial mineral contains A. optic axis and one vertical symmetry axis, B. optic axis and one horizontal symmetry axis, C. optic axis and extraordinary ray, and D. optic axis and ordinary ray. The principal section of a uniaxial mineral contains optic axis and extraordinary ray. C is the correct option. Next question. Resistivity sounding in groundwater exploration estimates A. variation of resistivity with depth, and B. horizontal variation in resistivity, and C. both variation of resistivity with depth and horizontal variation in resistivity, and D. none of these. Resistivity sounding in groundwater exploration, it estimates variation of resistivity with depth. Resistivity sounding, that is also known as vertical electrical sounding, VES, in groundwater exploration, it aims to determine the variation of electrical resistivity with depth. By passing electrical current into the ground and measuring the resulting potential differences at various electrode separations, VES technique, it helps in identifying subsurface layers with varying resistivity values, which can be correlated with the different geological formations and groundwater conditions. So resistivity sounding in groundwater exploration, it estimates variation of resistivity with depth. So these are some of the important suggested books for all the competitive exams in geology, CSIR, ONGC, and other competitive exams. Thank you for your time. See you in the next video. Hope you can explore geosciences and subscribe and share.